Xbox is dead. You might as well take your console out back and old yeller it because it's worthless now. Which is a damn shame because it used to be an absolute juggernaut. Even though I never owned an Xbox personally, I have a brother that doesn't like to be mentioned who does own one. And the only thing he collects with it these days is dust. It's no secret that Xbox has been struggling over the last decade, and Phil Spencer, the former CEO of Xbox, has openly admitted Microsoft lost the console wars. Now I say former because he's no longer the head honcho. He's leaving. And Xbox is going straight to Valhalla because of who he's been replaced with. The individual in question has no experience in gaming whatsoever and is solely AI driven, which is about as exciting as a bowl of grits. It's just a recipe for disaster. And at least Phil Spencer, for all his flaws, understood why Xbox was failing. It's because they don't have any games. They've shut down more studios than games produced on multiple occasions, so much so that it's what Microsoft has become known for over the last 2 years. The problem with Xbox is that they have no games. So, how do you solve that? Not with AI, I imagine. Like, there's just no reason to own an Xbox when there's no games being released on it. And now you have someone who's in a position that doesn't really have any experience with games and is all in on AI. It's become clear as day that is the direction they want to take Xbox, which nobody is excited for. And the more you think about it, the more you realize this was always in the cards. The CEO of Microsoft, Satya, literally had a conniption begging people to stop calling AI slop. So you take that and the fact he was the one who appointed Phil Spencer's replacement, it's not shocking that the new CEO of Xbox is someone who specializes in AI. But even though Phil Spencer made some questionable decisions, fucking Redfall, he still had so much experience in the gaming industry, which the new leader over at Xbox just doesn't. It's also worth mentioning that alongside Phil Spencer's departure, the president of Xbox, Sarah Bond, is also leaving. So both Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond are no longer with Xbox and will be departing soon. But I want to make it clear, I'm not upset that they're leaving. I recognize them wanting to pursue other things. Phil Spencer has been with the company for almost 4 decades now. It makes sense why he wants to step down, especially with what's been happening at Microsoft over the last few years. Him being the face of it means he's taken the blame for a lot of the baffling decisions made by the company, decisions that weren't entirely his fault. I understand why he wants to step away from Xbox, and I think a change in leadership was necessary. Again, the fact he's leaving is not the issue. It's the fact that his replacement, the new team captain over at Xbox, isn't really compatible to lead a game console industry whose biggest problem is a lack of fucking games. Meet Asha Sharma, Phil Spencer's replacement, who's currently the president of Microsoft's core AI product. She previously worked with Meta and Instacart, which means she has no background in gaming, but a strong focus on AI, which, oddly enough, Satya, CEO of Microsoft, has been advocating for recently. So much so that he even had a fucking meltdown about it at the beginning of 2026, but I'm sure that's probably just a coinky-dink. So here's a message from Asha, a memo that was sent out trying to get ahead of all the criticism in regards to AI. She starts by thanking Phil for his leadership and talking about how excited she is to take his place. And then goes on to say, "My first job is simple. Understand what makes this work and protect it. That starts with 3 commitments. First, great games. Everything begins here. We must have great games beloved by players before we do anything. Unforgettable characters, stories that make us feel, innovative gameplay, and creative excellence." Basically, all the cliches about how important quality games are. Second, the return of Xbox. We will recommit to our core Xbox fans and players, those who have invested with us for the past 25 years, and to the developers who build the expansive universe and experiences that are embraced by players across the world. This was a sentiment that was shared by Phil Spencer, and every time it came up, I was left scratching at my head trying to figure out how. They make it sound like some kind of political movement, like if they just chant loud enough, Xbox is back and better than ever, it'll come to fruition. But that hasn't happened yet, and I don't think regurgitating the same sentiments about the former glory of Xbox has really done much to help improve its player base. And then the third thing she talks about is the future of play, the reinvention of play. Maybe I'm on the crack pipe, but she really does go through this like a politician because she's just spamming buzzwords. I wouldn't be surprised if the current CEO of Microsoft's Core AI is just using their tech to try and get people hyped about them taking over their gaming sector. I don't think you can reinvent play. I think people just want to play good games the same way people want to watch good movies, as opposed to movies or games being made through the power of AI. Which I'm confident that's what she's trying to get people hyped about, and that is made prevalent in this statement. To meet the moment, we will invent new business models and new ways to play by leaning into what we already have. Iconic teams, characters, and worlds that people love. But we will not treat those worlds as static IPs to milk and monetize. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. I mean, it's good they don't want to milk IPs. That last statement about developing a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories, to me, that has the same DNA as other platforms like Fortnite or Roblox, which have become notorious for integrating AI so you can make your own games inside their game, which allows them to monetize their players through excessive microtransactions as a result. Again, not the most uplifting of statements, at least not to me. And she follows up with this by stating, as monetization and AI evolves and influences this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Games are, and always will be, art, crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. Okay. I mean, that's easier said than done, but I would take it with a grain of salt, since it's coming from an executive who's extremely involved with AI and was appointed by a CEO who wants to make it the prevalent future. I would be shocked if she actually views AI as slop, the enemy to creativity used solely by these corpo husks like her, considering her professional career over the last few years. That would be great if the focus isn't on integrating AI into games over at Microsoft. I'm just saying, based on her background, her assurance isn't the most robust. The next 25 years belong to the teams who dared to build something surprising, something no one else is willing to try, and have the patience to see it through. We have done this before, and I am here to help us do it again. I want to return to the renegade spirit that built Xbox in the first place. It will require us to relentlessly question everything, revisit processes, protect what works, and be brave enough to change what does not. Thank you for welcoming me on this journey, Asha. Yeah, to me this feels like hollow corpo PR speak. This just checked every major box. There's really nothing of value. She just talks about how it's all about the players, getting back to roots, and returning Xbox to its former glory. You know, it's very hard to be enthusiastic about this, considering it's coming from a leader who, over the last few years, has been working with AI and was appointed by someone who wants to make AI the prevalent future over at Microsoft. It just doesn't sound like a good fit for a gaming company to have a CEO who has no professional experience in gaming, but does have a ton of experience and profits from integrating AI, the arch enemy of creativity. So, to me, that makes it abundantly clear this decision is solely about trying to find ways of milking their remaining audience over at Xbox, as opposed to actually trying to return Xbox to its former glory. Because nobody is choosing an Xbox as their main console anymore. It can't even be considered a competitor because everything else at least offers something of value. Xbox just doesn't. Even Game Pass, which used to be their staple, they ruined that as well. At this point, the only people who are still using Xbox are the absolute ride or die fans. Overall, I do think this could spell the end for Xbox, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it goes under their new leadership. In the meantime, though, make sure you tip your bartenders, comfort the players in their time of grief, and go to church, y'all. That's really about it. See ya.